Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where of course we do have the very latest transfer news. And in today's video we are going to be talking a little bit more about Barca's right back situation and what is going on in terms of our targets right now. We're also going to be talking the big news of the day. It is all about Frenkie de Jong once again, our Man United getting closer to that deal, and as a result of that we are also going to be talking in some detail today about Bernardo Silva and his potential signing, plus as well, the really optimistic and the really encouraging news today. It's about Ansu Fati, and certainly much better feelings. Heading into pre-season, there is lots to come, and lots to discuss. So come on, and let's do it. But if we do indeed kick off with that right-back situation at Barca right now, because they are still very much the club intent on bringing in another right-back this summer. We are still looking for somebody to add to what we have in that area. We, of course, spoke yesterday a little bit on Cesar Azpilicueta, and I do maintain there that is still a deal that I don't really see happening right now. Barca wanted to sign him on that free transfer. That's not really something that's ended up materialising, and Chelsea are not going to let him go for free. They are going to demand a transfer fee, and I simply don't see Barca paying that right now for Azpilicueta, which may indeed now explain why over the past 48 hours or so we have heard plenty more links and a few other names and new names coming up in the right back area, because one of those names is indeed Juan Foyth, the Argentine defender there. He's somebody who can play at both right back and indeed centre back, playing his football of course right now at Villarreal in La Liga, and apparently Barca are going to open talks. They are going to have some initial conversations there with Juan Foyth's agent there, and he is apparently a player who Mattia Almani really does admire, and I do like his game. I think especially over these past few seasons with Villarreal, he's improved a lot, still only 24 years old. He's very, very solid defensively on that right side. Of course, he can play further infield as well. He's good as well with the ball, you'd have to say, but there's no real indication yet on what Villarreal would want. I feel as though maybe that fee would be a little bit on the high side. We'll have to wait and see, but no further advance yet from Barca apart from those talks with his agent. But another name definitely that we should be keeping an eye on is Arnau Martinez. Now, this is a young right back here, currently playing his football at Girona. 19 years old he is, just got promoted with Girona back to La Liga. Great to see them back in the league there. Our fellow Catalans, of course, and he played a massive part in that, Arnau Martinez. He's been really impressive with Girona, and it is being reported there that Barca, they are closely tracking him. They are closely following there his progress. They're keeping an eye on his situation this summer, and they could potentially look to make a move for him. And it is interesting because he has a release clause of just 10 million euros in that Girona deal. It was 5 million last year. That's now doubled because they've returned to La Liga. But even that, I think that could turn out to be a real bargain if he does indeed go on to become the player that many believe that he will. He is very highly rated in Spain. Really, really exciting player. But let's just wait and see on this one. It's one to keep an eye on, a name to certainly bear in mind, Arnau Martinez. And I think if we are going to make a move, if we are looking at this guy with some real intent, I wouldn't hang around, because at that price and many other big clubs tracking this man, it won't be long before he could be snapped up. However, if we do indeed now move on to the middle of the field, we've gone from defence here into midfield, because it's time to talk about Frenkie de Jong. Because there's a lot of reporting that goes on every single day about de Jong, about Man United, but I do have to say that right now, especially with reports this morning coming out of both Catalan media and indeed the English media, this is a move that's getting a lot closer now. There's reports this morning of an 80 million plus variables bid now from Man United. That is what is coming out, and it does definitely seem as though the two sides are getting a lot closer. United are getting closer to what Barca are demanding, the kind of fee that we are looking for. And it is interesting that Gerard Romero today came out and he said actually the only reason why maybe this deal is taking a little bit longer, why it's being delayed right now, is because of an agent's fee that is actually due there to Frenkie de Jong's agent, and Barca are the club that owe that fee. But we are not currently in a position to pay that right now, because Romero says that upon signing Frenkie de Jong, Bartomeu there promised Frenkie de Jong's agent a certain commission, a certain fee there that will be paid out to him, but surprise, surprise, it's yet to actually be paid. And I mean, of course it hasn't, because isn't that classic Bartomeu? Sign away the money, promise the world, but when it actually comes down to finding where that's going to come from, when it comes down to actually paying that money, oh no, suddenly now he's not there anymore. And he knew that he wouldn't be there by the time this came, and you just wonder how many more of these decisions, how many more of Bartomeu's actions are still going to come back to haunt us. Even now, we are clearing up his mess, but I do just feel like right now, even if there are a few complications, even if there are things that are just holding up the deal very slightly, I do just think at this point we've kind of all accepted it now that this deal, it's probably going to happen. I think we're way, way too far down the road for it not to happen at this point. You know, Erik ten Hag, the new United coach, he is pushing so hard for this signing. He is desperate to bring in De Jong to really kickstart their new project. And I think United really need this signing because they're actually in a very similar situation to us this summer, whereby they haven't actually got anyone in yet. They are still waiting around. They're still trying to bring in targets, but it hasn't happened. They need this deal, and I think Barca looking at it as though they're receiving a huge amount of money in the end. When they get what they want, they couldn't really turn that down, they feel, and it will of course contribute to the club's income. That will help our fair play situation in La Liga, and I think even more crucially than that, it is all about the wages. With Frenkie de Jong, in terms of removing those wages, that will have a quite considerable contribution next season to what our salary cap is going to be. Removing those wages, that is what Barca basically aim to do, should this deal indeed happen. But I think when it gets interesting on this De Jong situation right now, guys, is when we're talking here about selling De Jong, about removing those wages, and then the club are sort of in the background saying, okay, well then we'll bring in Bernardo Silva. He is somebody who we can sort of replace for the same sort of money. He will earn what they feel will be considerably less wages than De Jong. But of course, my question now would be, okay, we are selling De Jong. That looks like it's going to happen. That looks as though we're going to get that over the line and get the money in, but then you've got to get Bernardo Silva. Then you've actually got to go out, agree that deal, and bring the guy in. And the question I would ask to you guys is now, how confident would you be of that happening? Do you believe that Barca are going to be in the position to sign Bernardo Silva as they want to? I think part of me believes that surely some sort of talks must have taken place with both Man City and definitely the player. Bernardo Silva apparently would be really keen on coming. Of course, he wanted to leave Man City last season. He would certainly feel as though this would be a massive step in his career. He loves Barca apparently, and he'd be more than happy to be here. But we still have to get that deal done. I think what's also interesting as well, though, is that we do hear when it comes to Barca and Bernardo Silva, a lot of people saying, well, if you're going to sell De Jong, why don't you actually use that money in another area? Why would you sign Bernardo Silva? Maybe sign somebody in another position instead. But what I would say to that effectively is right now, guys, we kind of are. We are already going for Robert Lewandowski. We're already looking to bring in a top-class centre-forward. We're already going for Jules Koundé. Now, neither of those deals are dependent upon De Jong leaving or Bernardo coming, so those are completely separate deals that we're going for other players. And I just think for Xavi right now, he feels as though if I am losing one world-class midfielder in De Jong, you've got to replace him with another. If you're going to sell De Jong, if you're going to take that decision as a club, you replace him and bring me Bernardo. And also don't forget as well that Bernardo Silva can also play in wider areas too. There's plenty of talk right now about Barca's right-hand side, about what could happen in that area of the field. And Bernardo is a player that's been incredibly versatile for Man City. He's been brilliant in so many positions under Pep Guardiola. And I think the feeling from Xavi and indeed the club is that Bernardo coming in would actually fit Barca and indeed our current system better than what Frenkie de Jong has. Now, of course, they are two very different players. I think we all feel as though De Jong at Barca, there's certainly talent there. There's nobody that can question the talent of Frenkie de Jong. But of course, it's about application. It's about finding the right area, the right system, the right position for him. And I don't think we've ever really seen De Jong in his natural role. And we've said before, that's kind of because in our system, that position doesn't exist. He is not a lone pivot. He is somebody there who likes to play with two in a deeper role, and we don't have that. And we weren't going to switch our system around just to accommodate one single player. He wasn't that sole Busquets replacement, and that's interesting because a lot of people will say, well, what's going to happen now with that Busquets replacement? Bernardo Silva, of course he's not that kind of player. De Jong, we're selling. What's going to happen now? And I just truly believe that this season is expected to be the last of Busquets at Barca. After this season, he's expected to leave at the end of his contract, and I actually believe it'll be next summer the summer there of 2023 when Barca, having signed maybe the striker in this window, the centre-back in this window, Bernardo Silva in this window, next summer, then the big target will be Busquets replacement. Then we will go out into the market, maybe spend big on a player then, as Busquets will be departing. Finally though, guys, we do indeed have to discuss the optimism and the encouragement surrounding this young man, Ansu Fati. Because of course we spoke there quite a few days ago now about some of the rumours that were going around, concerns about Ansu's current condition, concerns there about his recovery from his injury problems, and real doubts really about the season ahead and whether Ansu would be ready to compete at that top level. But as we did say at the time, let's not forget, all we had to do was wait and see. Wait and see for ourselves very, very soon when pre-season was underway, which of course is going to be a massive time for Ansu. Pre-season is going to be crucial for his season, and the question was always going to be, how is he going to look in that period? And well, even before pre-season at Barca is set to get underway, things already are starting to look a lot more promising, because it already has been reported widely in the Catalan media that Ansu Fati has made the decision there with the club to start training 1 week before everyone else. Before the rest of the team come in, he is going to be there 1 week before to start his training. Such is the desire there to get down to work and to make sure that he is ready for this period. And it's even being said that he actually cut short his holiday entirely. He only spent 1 week away before returning now, and even before he gets back to training with the club, with the team at the training facilities, already he's training on his own. He is doing individual sessions there, reportedly twice a day, double sessions, to get himself ready and to be in the best possible shape that he can be. And that, for me, that is hugely, hugely encouraging news for Ansu. And of course, again, we will have to wait and see. We can't get too ahead of ourselves one way or another. Only time will tell how his body holds up and how he looks in that pre-season. But these are better signs. These are things that we can be optimistic and hopeful about regarding Ansu, and that is something very, very special indeed. So indeed, guys, that right there is the Barca news from today. There is plenty to discuss, plenty on all of the agendas right now at the club in terms of defensive reinforcement, in terms there of questions about our midfield and what we can do to get the best out of that area of the field. And of course, they're really, really promising and encouraging signs for Ansu Fati. I will, of course, see you very, very soon indeed. There will be more videos to come, and there will, of course, be plenty of them. Thank you for your incredible support, but until next time, as always, Visca El Barça!